So you are about to watch part 2 of me designing this 9-volt battery cover, and it's where we really get into where the real design comes from and where where we design the actual design that is posted or going to be posted on Maker World. So you don't really need to know, you don't really need to watch the first video, but it does give some context, especially to some things that I refer back to, but it's kind of few and far in between throughout this video. Just another warning for some people who may not have watched the first video. This is going to be a build vlog style video, which is going to be mostly in CAD. So this video might not be entertaining for most average people. But if you do like to build and create things, especially through 3D printing, then this video might be for you, especially if you're a beginner. It might help you kind of see my process, and you might pick up a few things along the way. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I have come up with a kind of like different approach of how to do this. So I was hoping that this was going to be an easy project to get to be able to get a video out, because I'm kind of falling behind this week. And of course, that's not going to be how it is, but I'm going about this wrong. So I wanted to try and make a simple design, which is literally just a box to cover the cap. But since it has that little extra, this would work for basic storage so that things won't cling together, hopefully won't touch, because I think that's how corrosion happens one way or another. I don't know. But instead of making a box that goes around the body, I think I should make a sort of box that goes just around the terminals rather than around the entire ring, around the entire body. So we're going to attempt to do that. It's going to be kind of difficult. So I changed this, our original cover, to read only because we need to make a new project. How do I do that again? So then we're going to save this as 9-volt battery terminal cover. And the design is going to be somewhat fundamentally different. I don't quite know how to orient this in terms of the XY position, so I think I'm just going to start by making the negative terminal, which is the bigger terminal, the center of the design. So we need to make parameters again. I need to remember what it was. I think it was 8.5. I haven't even seen if the terminals would work yet, so I have to be careful. We'll leave it at this for now, and hopefully it won't get stuck. Or maybe I should make it bigger, because that's the safer option, that it wouldn't get actually stuck on there. We'll see. I don't know. I'll live and learn. This was negative terminal diameter. Okay. Positive terminal diameter. I have 2 A's in there. And that was 5.5. And we don't need the distance from the edges because we're not going to the edges. So let's just start with our 2 circles here. So we need to create a sketch first of all. We'll start from here. So this needs to be positive. So positive terminal diameter, and then we'll make one just out here. Oh, we needed that to be the negative actually. Let's get them mixed around. So now this one needs to be the positive. This one needs to be negative. So then that'll be bigger. Then we have 2 circles. So now we need to try and get a rough estimate of how these two measure from the center points of in between these two. About 12 millimeters. Seems like it might be a little more. 12.5. Looks like it goes a little past it at 5. So it looks like it might be 12.3, honestly, which is a really kind of annoying number, but I think that's our number right there. I'm actually fairly decent at eyeballing things like that, but let's see. 12.3. What I'm not good at is remembering the number after. So this is going to be interesting. I have to remember some stuff that I'm not very familiar with. I think collinear constrains 2 or more objects so that they share a common line. No. Midpoint, no. Parallel equal tangent. I think I might be able to use the tangent to combine a line with a circle. Might be wrong though, because this is midpoint, right? Yeah. Concentric constrains 2 or more arcs, circles, or ellipses to the same point. No. Perpendicular. Well, let's just start by trying this. I think this is gonna not work because it's gonna go through it trying to get over there. Does the line go through the circle? Let's start from this circle, because it goes through it a little bit and it doesn't really work. It looks like it's trying to do something proper right there. What is that? It's the tangent. Okay. What does tangent do? Constrains a curve in another object so they touch in a singular point. Okay. So let's try something like this. Now we gotta do the same thing for the top. I want this point to be parallel with the other point. This one's gotta be parallel with the other point as well. But that should by default be parallel. It's fairly parallel. And in reality, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect either, as long as it just works. At least logically. It looks like these should be actually back a little bit. Let's remove that constraint. Why did it move down a little bit? Okay. This point parallel with that point? I don't know. It looks like it'll work. It looks like a fairly cohesive shape. I wish that we could just kind of get rid of these lines. So there's two options that I can do here. I can try and make specific circles for each of them and have a body in the between, or I can just try and make a gap and then it just slots over both of them and friction fits between them. That's kind of hard to tell which way to go, honestly. Maybe I should try them both. Finish this sketch. We're going to save. So now we're going to take this, once it saves, because it has to upload to the cloud. We'll make this read-only in the process if it would freaking let me. Yes, I know what I'm doing, kinda. Copy. It's going to be pasted right back in. Rename with divider. Okay. So we're currently looking at the one without the divider. So we're going to go back into the sketch. And then we should be able to trim this out of the situation. So now this is all one cohesive shape, and it looks interesting because of the size difference, and it's two connected circles. This is not perfectly rounded. Maybe it is? No, it's still got a little bit of an angle, but still. If it works, it works. I'm not a professional here, so... Well, what's next? So this is the inner area that we need. So now we just need to take this entire shape and expand it. Now the question is, how do we do that? There's typically a simple tool, which is offset. We take that, and so basically this will just be our wall thickness. So how thick do we want the wall? Well, first of all, I'd like to make a parameter for that. Just simply make it wall thickness. We'll start with 0.5. Like I said, TPU would probably make this a little bit easier, especially if it was flexible, because then you could have it round over some of this stuff, and then it would kind of get on there, and then you could peel it off. But unfortunately, right now, I don't have it, and I don't know much about TPU because I've never had it. So let's just work with what we have here. So now that we have that parameter, we need to do the offset. So we remove all of this, do wall thickness, okay. And then we finish the sketch, because now all we have to do is extrude this. Actually, we should make some parameters for this now. So we need terminal depth, which I forgot how much it was. I think it was 2 millimeters that we were going with. We don't know for sure if it's correct, but we're going to go with it and see how it works. That's why 3D printing is so great, is because it's just a very simple iterative process, especially for very small things like this that can be printed in very few minutes, especially now with the speedy printers. So we have the terminal depth. That should be all we need for now. We extrude all of this, and the distance will be terminal depth. Okay, and then on the bottom side, we make the sketch visible again. We extrude both of these. The distance will be wall thickness. It's trying to cut because we need negative wall thickness. And then it will join because now it's made a separate little thing. There we go. And hopefully this will be a simple little cover that will just simply cover the terminals and not add too much more thickness to the actual battery, so that hopefully it doesn't mess with tolerances too much. I think a lot of times the sidewalls were what was hindering us rather than the verticality like I was worried about originally. There's not a whole lot of rounding we can do. We can round this hard corner on the top, which will help with elephant footing while printing and just overall looking nice. We could also try and round or chamfer something here on the inside. Kind of iffy because we also need this wall space. That's a kind of a toughie. I don't think it'll be necessary. We'll try it without first. Well, It's hard. Anyway, I'm gonna fill it the outside, and I want to make a thing for that. We're gonna name it exterior rounding, and it will be 0.5. All right. Now we take our fillet again. We do this. It has the full round. Move that. Type in rounding. It'll come up, and boom. Things look nice. Very epic. All right. So I think this should be an okay design, but we'll see. So let's save. We'll see if this works before even worrying about trying to design that one. This one shouldn't take hopefully too long to print. We want to hide this sketch now. And now we need to do the exporting process again. And there it is, our itty bitty little tool of greatness. Such a simple concept, yet it's, it's so difficult. It somewhat seems too small, but sometimes the looks can be deceiving. So hard, it's kind of hard to tell, honestly. But I don't know. Let's just try it, I guess. Camera needs to charge, and I don't want to take it off the charger while it has been charging and then set it up again. So I quickly tested it, and this is very small, like I said, and unfortunately, it is kind of close to what we need, but unfortunately, I think possibly the negative terminal is a little small in this design, and it needs to stretch out a little bit longer. I'm not for sure if the negative terminal is too small. Actually, I could probably just try and slip it around and see. So it's not, because it actually fits on pretty well, but we need to extend out this design a bit. So let's get started on that. Hopefully everything will work smoothly, and those lines will stay connected to each other. Hopefully nothing will break. I don't think anything will. That's why one of the reasons why I moved to Fusion 360 compared to FreeCAD, because FreeCAD, you kind of have to do everything perfectly the first time, or have it properly parametrically designed, which is what these parameters are. Otherwise, everything just breaks. And sometimes even when it feels like you've done everything right, sometimes it still breaks. So yeah, usually this program supposedly does pretty good. So do I have a distance here? I do not. But so did I just manually input the number in? I don't remember already. So we have 12.3. Which I did just put in the number, which I shouldn't have done that, but luckily it's a quick fix. So we do this. We want, what's the proper way I should name this? I'm just gonna say distance between, gotta take out the space, almost. All right, and so we had 12.3. Now this is not quite sure. It's like that. Looks like it maybe to be extended by 2. Try 14.3. Might be a little large, but not much plastic and it shouldn't take too long. Just do 14.3. With 3D printing, you can afford to make these kinds of mistakes. If you had to do a mold and stuff like that, they would take forever and it'd be too expensive, and especially for something small like this, which is probably why not a lot of people make this. Actually, I don't know, I've never looked it up. There's probably people who already make battery covers. I know there's also battery organizers and stuff, so this is probably just a dumb thing that probably been done before, but oh well. So we have our thing here. We need to change this to our parameter one. So we're just gonna say terminal. So distance between terminals. Ooh, that did not work. Oh, it's because since I cut this circle, it stopped doing what it needed to. So this line has to change. Why did this stay here? Oh, it's because of the measurement here. Alright, well, hopefully this will work better. Still got some ridges there, but that's okay. This one looks a little better. I want these to be parallel. No. How do I make them straight? Equal? That doesn't work with points. Just want them to be the same vertical. It's coincident, isn't it, right? The position of 2 points to curve together. No. Collinear. 2 or more objects so that they share a common line. No. Just want them to be the same. But I don't quite know. Equal? I think I tried that already and it didn't work. Yeah. Oh well, I think it should be fine. Let's do it on the point there. Will not look good. Do it on that point right there. And I'm messing things up. Let's just Control C this shit. Alright. I don't know, it looks fine to me for the most part. Yep, can I please? Thank you. Then finish sketch, and then we still have our solid object, and it looks like the depth actually works out pretty well. I was a little worried that this wouldn't be enough wall space on this itty bitty thing, but it seems like it works. So just try this and see if it works. That's it. Okay, so I printed out the second version of this with the wider area, and it actually works. It sits almost perfectly on here. Now, there are a few things that kind of concern me about the longevity of these. So the first thing is that it's not very stable on there. It can very easily come off. I don't know why, but it's a lot easier from this side to pull it up, but you can't really do it from that side. I mean, obviously I just did, but I think you know what I mean. So yeah, and then the other issue is where to store this piece when the pedal comes back into use. So obviously I'm making this for when you're putting pedals into storage and want to keep the battery with it for whatever reason, So there is the option that you just put it in the cavity with the pedal, because if the pedal's coming out of storage only for a short while, then obviously hopefully it shouldn't get knocked around and lost inside the pedal somehow. Though that is a possibility on some pedals, like the Tube Screamer. It's kind of possible that it gets stuck. It might get fit in this cavity here. There's this hole right here leading in there, and it would kind of suck to have it in there, because even just looking in there I can see some wires and stuff, and it would probably make it a hell of a time trying to get it out. If it was something like a Boss pedal, it probably wouldn't be that much of a big deal, or you probably just couldn't even really store it in there. Or, the simple solution is to just simply take it out and store it somewhere else. But I don't know. There was an easy storage solution with the cap, which was to just put it on the rear end of the battery instead of the top end, like that. So there are two things that I think I'm going to do. I think I'm gonna make two different models, working off of the ones I already made. I'm going to make another one of these with the walls even thinner. I'm going to try it just to experiment and see how that works. And then I am also going to make the walls a little bit deeper on this to see how that works. I don't think I'm going to record this building these, because there shouldn't be any issues. I might record this one just in case that there's issues with the curves, because we're getting so thin that the curves might not even work. I'm hoping at least the bottom ones will. The side ones should work. I don't know how well they'll work together, but yeah, it's all we'll just see. Okay, we're recording this just in case something goes wrong. I don't expect there to be anything wrong, but mostly all we should have to do is go into here, go into wall thickness, and we're going to try doing 0.25. And might go catastrophically wrong in the in printing, but it did not go wrong here in modeling. So that was pretty easy. So we're going to save, then we got to export. So hopefully, even though it's so thin, it is plastic, and I'm hoping that it's going to be solid enough that it's still just going to be able to just work as a thin cover to just slip over the top and the bottom as a little cozy or whatever, or making the battery, completely safe, hopefully. And then we move over to here where we have parameters, and then all we needed to do, hopefully, is to make the terminal depth a little bigger. I don't think we can go much bigger than a millimeter, so we're just going to go with 3, and we're going to see how that works. So now we save it. Now we save as mesh. Okay, so 0.25 does not work. This is how the model comes out when I try and slice at 0.25. The original model has the walls. The sliced model does not. So I have to make them a little bigger. What the exact number is going to be, I am unsure. But let's try. I'm going to go up to 0.30 and see if that's going to be enough, but I honestly don't know. Okay, we're importing the next new model. There it is with walls. What the hell? Alright then, obviously that doesn't work. Okay, 0.35. We're now exporting it. Okay, importing 0.35 walls. Slice it. Well, we're getting somewhat closer. Okay, 0.4. This should logically be the right size to get a single layer walls because it's double the nozzle spread, I think? I don't know. The nozzle squish, whatever it's the width, I don't know. Something like that. And importing 0.4. Slice it. Are you serious? Well, we're almost back to the 0.5 that we had, which is not what I want. I guess they were kind of squished together. So maybe the 0.45 will work or whatever. I don't know. 0.45. 45. Slice it. And there we go. There's our single wall. At least on the outside. So I don't know how much thinner this is going to be. I guess they're already squishing it together pretty well, so this probably won't turn out too awful different compared to our, middle model here. I don't know. We'll still try it, but I don't have high hopes for this model here. Okay, so I've printed out both of the models. Here is the cap. I'm trying to remember where I put the other ones. Here they are. It doesn't really look too awful different. You probably won't be able to see anything on the camera, even if you could see the difference between the bigger for a major difference. I think I might have just lost which one is which. Oh dear God. Yeah, because they're pretty much the same, so I don't have high hopes for it. I think this is the one that was new. Fits on the top. Yep. Nice and snug. Now we just gotta open up petals and see how it works. Now, one thing you might be asking is why are you worrying about the battery protector if you're pressing down the pedal anyway? So, because logically if you're using the pedal, you shouldn't have the protector on. Well, one, there is the option I would like to have to be able to storage. I'd like them to have the option to store the protector on the battery in the pedal while using the battery, or there's also the option of using the DC jack, so even if you don't want to use the battery, you should be able to use the thing here, and it is still blocking it, of course, but obviously this works. So let's check out some other pedals and see if they work. So let's see if we have any better fit in the tube screamer. Well, it was a little bit better, I think, but it's still just a really snug fit, so it would work for tube screamers. But in Ibanez pedals that are like the tube screamer enclosure, it's still not great though. It's just a really tight tolerance and I can't get it to print any thinner. I guess if I got a thinner nozzle, I could try and print thinner. There's also the question of durability, which this is actually still pretty stiff. But yeah, and then it might also help if this was TPU even at this size, because it's flexy, so then it can be kind of squished and moved out of the way, hopefully. I'd like to use a different Digitech pedal, so I gotta get one out. I think they're in this box that's unfortunately under a bunch of other boxes. A multimeter box, but it fits almost perfectly 2 Digitech pedals. So the Screamin' Blues is going to be our new test subject. I'm going to need... Did I put that on there? I don't think I would have. It definitely looks like I did. Huh. I need this to push out the tabs on the side, because the Digitech pedal was the one that was really having an issue in connection with this, and this one's foam has held up a lot better. It's not falling out like the other one is, so that means that there's even less tolerance for the battery to fit in. Speaking of which, where's the battery? Oh, there it is. It seems to me that this is just not going to work, because I can't even stuff the battery snap in here with the thing on. It seems that they sized it basically perfectly to have the battery snapped in place, and that's about it. It doesn't help that my battery snap is kind of coiled up and weird. Yeah, it really leaves no room. So that might be an issue even with our other one. Since we have the door open already, let's try our new terminal guard. I haven't even tried it yet to see if it fits better. It does, and it feels a little more secure. It can be easily removed, but it feels pretty secure on there. I don't know. Maybe not. This kind of fits, actually. It's hard for me to... There we go. because there's the battery snap. It might fit with the other one as well, now that I've fixed the battery a little bit, because the battery was sticking out. But for the most part, I think that I'm gonna have to try and I'm just gonna have to abandon the cover version. But the real test is to see if it'll actually even work if I well, there's no reason why it shouldn't work if I put the thing on, because it's not really blocking anything now. So let's yeah, there's no reason for it to not work for turning on and off. I'm just gonna use the I'm gonna use the 9-volt connector just to see if it'll turn on, which it should. Yep, it turns on and off. Yeah, like I keep saying, there should be no reason why it should block it, because it's inside the area that the battery takes up, and it's not adding to the area that the battery takes up. So there's no reason for it to block anything. The only way it would block something is lengthwise, because it adds just that little bit of height on the terminals. Honestly, I don't know if I showed you this, but I found one of these rubber feet, and it's one of these things. So it's on one of these Boss style enclosures, but I can't find which pedal it goes to. All of them have their feet, so I don't know if that one was an extra that was in an enclosure for some reason. I don't know if someone bought like extras and then shoved them in the area of like, well, the distortion I bought new, so maybe the weapon had new feet? I don't know. So yeah, this is pretty cool. We have this, but so the Digitech was pretty much the ultimate test, which it worked. The actual Boss enclosure is still a good test as well, because there is that, it's such a little small space, and there's that little bit of room, only a little bit of room, and I managed to fit it in. It was a little difficult, but it's in there with the snap. And the snap is, like I was saying, when you're gonna actually use the pedal only for a short while, I don't know where to store the thing. In a Boss pedal, you can just shove it off to the side here or underneath, but like I was saying, with other things, it can get a little more hairy. Like in the Digitech pedals, there was a little bit of space that it could get into, but if you put it on the other side, it's not as big of a deal. And I'm not sure how much it could move around in here, but there's a lot of tolerance going on in the Tube Screamer TS9 Maxon style enclosure with this huge hole in the middle. So yeah, you'd probably just have to take it out and then have them in a place that you know where they are. But I don't know. I think that that's basically gonna be our finished thing. I don't know how to improve upon this design anymore, because it doesn't really stay on as firmly as I'd like. So it's possible I could try and shrink the size a little bit to get a little bit of a tighter snap on these. I don't know if it's worth recording, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna do it. I don't know, maybe I'll do it tonight. It's 11 o'clock, I think. It's 11:30 at night, so I think I'll wait till tomorrow to do it. I'll do the modeling and then I'll do the printing tomorrow. That's what I'll probably do. Is anyone being entertained by this in any way? Finding this useful? Okay, so it's the next day. I didn't do the modeling, so let's do that. So one thing that I considered was also that doing the terminal divider might also make the model more secure. So I don't know, I'm thinking about it. We're gonna make this read-only because it's not really able to, work. So we're also gonna delete this, and then we're gonna copy off of this one. Why is this one read-only? The document limit has not been reached. I hate Fusion 360. It's been like 3 days since I went on the forums and on 2 days on Reddit, and no one has replied to either of my things about my issue with my footprints not being able to be moved. So either I'm gonna have to figure it out myself, or I'm gonna have to try and figure out how to message someone at Autodesk, because this is just not getting fixed, and it's just I can't even fix it. I don't know what to do. Anyway, now with that out of the way, I'm gonna copy this, rename it. So let's open this. It's read only for some reason, even though it's still not. There we go. Is it open yet? Okay, it is. Just didn't look any different. So now logically, oh no, I copied that other one before when I didn't cut the circles. Shoot. Well, I wish I didn't do that, but we're gonna have to try and figure out something to do. about that. So I have an idea. We'll open this sketch. So a possibility is that we can just make another circle, and then this one needs to be negative terminal, I believe is the bigger one, and then this one will be positive terminal. And now we have our circles again. I believe these have the tolerance. This doesn't have it, I don't think. Exterior positive terminal. Yeah, this one doesn't have it. Which will probably mess up our model just a little bit. Yep. Well, that's annoying. Okay, right about there. Now this one, right about there, maybe? I don't know. The naked eye looks good if I don't look at it very closely. I think if I zoom in, I can see a crease, like right there, but it'll be fine. Especially once with the refinement or whatever, the export quality, it should be fine. So now that we have this, we should be able to finish the sketch. Now this is all the same, but we need to make the sketch visible, and then we need to extrude. So we have a few options of what we might be able to do. To make removal easier, we might be able to make this inner part smaller than just making it flush with the outside. But I think to start with, we should make it the same size as the outer walls. Let's just see. So we need distance to be in a terminal depth. Yeah. And then we join it. Boom. Now we have this as a fruit fly flying around my room somehow. Board fell down again. Stray hairs that are flying all over the place. Alright, so now these should fit the terminals. They don't have as much tolerance as I usually put in, thus trying to make it in a snug fit. I don't know. I think we just need to try it and see how it works. So we save this, and now we need to export it. And then this will also kind of help me figure out if I need to move the slots in a little bit, because this divider could royally mess up the fit, because not just sitting frictioning on the outer edges. I don't know. There's possibilities of what could happen. I think I'm going to save this one like this, and then I'm also going to go in here and print this one at the same time, but with our with the distance slightly shrunk down. The fit was pretty good. Let's do it by 0.2, see if that changes anything. Save as mesh. Okay. Okay, so we have the two models printed out. So here is the regular one without the terminal slots. It's just open in the middle. And it definitely fits better. When I press on the corner, it doesn't pull up. So that's pretty good. Oh, but it still does on that side. So I wonder if pulling it a little tighter still would help. But I also worry about trying to get it off. There is a tiny, I don't know if this camera's gonna be able to see it. I gotta get my face out of here. And there's a shadow from my microphone. There's a tiny gap. You can't see it. There's a tiny gap in the middle that you can get your nail under. But yeah, I don't know. I still think it's probably good enough for putting in a pedal, especially if you're putting it in storage. But yeah, storing, maybe not so much. Let's see how this other one goes. So this is the one where it has the two circles. It printed very nicely, of course, like it usually does. This one's actually got some slight surface, like, I guess it's just visual because I can't even feel the surface issues. Except for one, this one has a little bit of spike, but it doesn't matter. And it doesn't work. So this kind of shows how off I was actually, because it's like, it looks like it's like maybe half a millimeter off compared to the hole on here. I can't get the view of it on the camera, but yeah, it's pretty far off. So yeah, this was I don't know what my measurement was, but it wasn't good apparently. I might have been able to make 3D print a tool to measure these, but you know, like or at least assistant things if I made covers for these or something like that, but I don't know. But yeah, this is gonna need some more work, but I do think that it would be probably the preferable option, of course. So going forward, I'm not quite sure how I want to do this, because I think I should focus on one version over the other, and this is the more professional seaming option, but it does have to be pretty precise, and I just worry about how other people's machines will handle it, because I want to make this file available, and also have to get this video out. I don't know. I guess thinking about it isn't going to change anything. I have to get this done. So I'm thinking that I need to shrink all of it down quite a bit. I'm going to try and do some more rough measurements and see about how far off I was, maybe, but I don't know. Okay, so I've determined that I will work purely on this one first and then make an optional thing for this, for the open concept one later, because if this one works, then the size should be optimal for the open one. So what I've just done is I just measured between the inside terminals here, and I measured between here. And I'm going to try and go into the sketch and see if I can measure the distance between these and see if it matches up, which was 6 millimeters is what I got. Okay, that did not work because it went to, instead of the edge, it went to the center for some reason. And it's still doing it. So yeah, it just selects the centers of them, which is not helpful. Okay, well, let me take another look at, so from how is it 14? What am I measuring this? How did I measure this before? Alright, let's do it. I'm going to put this to 14 point. Let's do 14 in general right now. Right there I got like 12.2. 14 is way over. I don't know how I got 14 before. So honestly, it looks like they're about 12 millimeters center to center spaced. So I don't know how I got this measurement right here. I don't know what happened. Let's change this to 12 and see how that works. It just seems so small. Because these other ones worked pretty well, so how would that... It's just strange. Let's do a tolerance parameter so I make that easier. We're going to make it 0.2, and then we're going to take out these 0.1s and change it to fit tolerance. We're going to try it with the 0.2, and then maybe we'll shrink it down if it's a little loose still. So now this is a little messed up because it needs to be pushed back again. I wish there was a way I could make this proper. It needs to be with this cotangent or whatever. Tangent. Problem is that it doesn't always work properly either. There was a locking point on... What is it doing? Why does it keep wiggling? It's because of this, isn't it? Get rid of that. Alright, it keeps clicking on more things. Now this should be able to move without wiggling absolutely everything. See, because there was... I don't know why. Oh, God, stop. See, because over here it had this point where it locked. But I don't understand why it won't lock on this one. Does it need to be at the front more? No, I don't fucking know. I just wish there was a way that it would, you know, always shift properly when I make these measurements, which there probably is a way, I just don't know it yet. If someone else does know, leave it in the comments below, help me out, and try and explain it like I was a dum-dum. Hopefully it's not like a super simple solution when it probably is, because it's probably just one of these types of constraints that I'm missing, or that I'm, you know, visually missing, not actually missing from the program functionality, though some functionality is missing, of course. Apparently it used to be the same. It did used to be the exact same function from the paid and the free version. You just had limited editing slots, but clearly that's not the case anymore because for some reason it's hindering me being able to do a simple task of moving my footprints onto anywhere basically, and it says that I need the full version to do it for some reason. Anyway, we're going to try and print this, but I really don't think it's going to work. It just doesn't seem... It seems like it's just too far of an adjustment. What does 2 millimeters look like? Is that 2 millimeters off? I don't think so. I really think it was just a ½ millimeter off. Let me write down the old number here. I believe that was 14.3 is what we started with. Well, we'll do that. Now we export this. And then I'm going to do something that I don't normally do here, which is I'm going to send this print instead of doing the SD card, because doing this small stuff going back and forth is really annoying, and is getting really annoying. I do have to make sure that I cleared off the starting print strip, though. Get the file and put it in here. That's the new one. Slice it. And since there is this gap here, the divider, there is a little bit of infill. I switched it to grid infill. I left it at 25, even though we probably don't need 25. Right now, it's not looking like it's infilled very well. but I think it would need more if I wanted it to better. Let's try lowering it first though and see how it turns out. Yeah, that's not good. Change it to 35, which might be a little overkill, honestly. That looks pretty good. Just want it to be as strong as possible, and it didn't up the time too awful much, I don't think. The print time is literally 3 minutes. The preparation takes longer than the actual print. So now we have this, so we should be able to print late. How do I haven't done this very often, so send printer. Did I not connect this? I might not have actually connected my printer on this. Let me do that for a second. Don't know how to do it. Is it because I'm not logged in? Is that why? Ah, there we go. Device. We have P1, P1. Alright. So, I think it's in sleep mode, so right now it's not showing anything. Or we can just hit play. It's also not printing, so I don't know. Micro SD card? Not. Initialize failed. Not supported on current printer version. I don't know if that's because it's a P1P or what, but HMS? What is HMS? Failed to connect a printer. Why? That might be because it's sleeping. Let me go check stuff. So, I just woke it from sleep mode and removed the other thing. I don't know why. Is it because it needs to be updated? It didn't say that it needed to be updated. It just says that it's not able to connect a printer. Let me figure this out. Okay, so I just had to do my SD card to get the file over because for some reason my printer won't connect now, so that's cool. So I had to put in a ticket for that. But we have the smaller version here, which you can see is quite a bit shorter. This one is the short one. So we're gonna see how well this works. And now it's too short. What the hell, dude? So yeah, now it looks like it undershot it by, I don't know, 0.5 millimeter maybe? So I'm just gonna up the size to 12.5 and then reprint it and we'll see how it works. Testing the next thing, go on the big thing, and it doesn't fit still. What if I try and set it like directly on top? It's still too small. I have to make it a little longer still. Oh my god. I guess we're going up to 13, huh? Okay, so something that I have just noticed, which is really affecting the print, is that these holes are coming out too small. I added tolerance to the to the model, and then I added even more to the smaller hole because for some reason it just wouldn't fit on that terminal. And so I've never, through the whole project so far, I haven't even thought about measuring the inside diameter, but I just did, and the small hole with the tolerance plus the extra size that I just added now only comes out to 5.5, which is the exact size of the terminal, so it needs to be a little bit bigger to fit around the terminal. So I'm letting my Bamboo, my P1P auto-calibrate, and hopefully that'll fix some of this under movement, I guess. I don't know, because it should be printing at, I think, 5.9 diameter, and it's only coming to 5.5 right now. So I don't know if that's going to fix itself. It doesn't look like there's no elephant's footing. So that's my main, that was my main concern. It's usually the culprit of undersized holes, but right now that's not seeming like what's happening. I may be able to fix it in Slicer as well with some other compensations, but it's not elephant's footing, which is, it's good, but it's also bad because then I still don't know what the actual issue is. As far as my knowledge, there's no way to calculate and fix E-steps on the Bamboo Labs printer. There's no way to adjust it as far as I know. There's no tutorials online. So I may have to go as far as go to support to try and fix this issue. This printer's just giving me issues now, of course. However printer is, huh? It's giving me issues now because now I can't even connect through Wi-Fi. I rarely ever used it before, and now that I want to use it, it doesn't work. So that's fun. Okay, so I did the recalibration of the printer and printed out another model, and it did not fix anything. So I don't know exactly what to do. I'm looking in the slicer, and so I changed the seam position to the back just to get it all lined up again, which I think it did originally, but it changed it for some other stuff. But then I also changed the wall order from outer to inner when it's normally the other way around. I'm hoping that this will allow it to just lay down the proper size. However, I'm not fully for sure, especially that this wall is considered an inner wall, I think. Or at least it does it after. It does it after the this very outside wall. So I really don't know if that's going to change anything. Probably not. And then strength, there's nothing really changed. I think that's all I did because there's just nothing else that's really going to actually be helpful. There was this Arachne wall order, which might help, and it makes it really strange, because this is how the wall works now, is it just kind of goes in a linear line going around. Oh, I guess it doesn't. It goes around, and then it starts wrapping on the inside, and then it makes the two loops on the inside. So this outer inner is probably not going to fix anything. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But Arachne walls, where the hell is it? Is that under quality? Wall generator, Arachne. So then it makes it all weird and all over the place. Because then it does that. So it's possible that it'll make it lose durability because of the weird way it prints. And then it's also just very strange. I don't know. I'll try it with the classic for now, and then if this still doesn't work, we'll try that, and then I have to go to support, try and fix my dimensional issues if I can even try. Okay, so I have adjusted this sketch because for some reason it was only in the sketch state. It didn't bring up the 3D object. So I put some curves on it again. I put this curve on last time, I think, but I didn't have this one. This one does not come through in the print very well at all. And then another thing I did was I made this hole bigger. I made the positive terminal bigger. I think this is the positive terminal. Anyway, I made it bigger because this one seemed to fit around it fine, but for some reason this one was kind of just off. I tried adjusting, first of all I need to make this a construction line. I tried adjusting the space between them, but for some reason it was erroring and not doing it properly. So I made this hole a little bit bigger, added double tolerance in the parameters for that hole, which seems to make it work with normal wall generation. For some reason with normal wall generation, it's just coming out really small, because I know that there's a little bit of shrinkage, and that's why I have that 0.2 tolerance, but for some reason this was coming out abnormally small. So then I printed it with Arachne walls. That prints fine, but it makes the model look a little crappier because it comes out with like 2 Z seams because of how the walls are generated and come out printing in the print order and stuff like that. So 1 and 2 of these are the same. I started labeling them so I actually knew which ones were which. Then I printed out, this is one that was printed with normal, and then I printed it with normal walls with the same measurements as the Arachne version, and it comes out just a bit short because the spacing is just not correct. Now, with this extra tolerance that I put in this hole here, it comes out and actually manages to fit on here. It doesn't feel very tight, but it does stay on there, it doesn't fall off, and it is easily removable. So, I don't know, I think I'm kind of satisfied. One thing that I want to do is I want to measure between these circles again, see what this came out to actually. And of course it doesn't have a point now. If I turn this from a what is it doing? Okay. Alright, well, I don't want that fucking measure. Fine. We have this construction line, and I made this line to fix this thing here because it's slightly raised above. Well, now it's below. Am I looking out the... I don't know. Either way, it's not on the line properly for some reason, which is really stupid. I'm just gonna... because it's not even doing anything anyway. So we're going to do this point to this point. That's roughly 5.8. I mean, it got smaller? Because it was 5.9 before. But yeah, it manages to fit over the battery terminals. Where did I put the battery? I can't put this stupid pop filter thing in the way. Alright. I just wonder if I can shrink it down a little bit to make it a little tighter. To work with the Panasonic battery. A little bit different. fit on the Panasonic battery? It does. Well, maybe this is a good model then. I don't know, I was kind of expecting it to be kind of bad. I think it fits better on this one. Got more of a lip, I think, so I can't really get underneath it as much. It also has this plastic ring around the terminal here. I'll try and show you better on the actual camera. Yeah, okay. This one, now it's seeming a bit loose. Okay. I think this is going to be my final model for this. Yeah, and then another weird thing that came out was on the slicer here, as you can see. I think it's because of the slant here. I kind of want to get rid of the slant. That's not my final model. I'm going to bring it back. I want to get rid of this stupid slant. I hate it. What the hell just happened here? I saw all these. I think the reason it went. Oh, I think I did something. Okay, so we need to get rid of all of these steps. So now we have our proper thing. Alright. And now we need to get rid of this as well. So now we have the flat thing here, because there's just simply not enough room around this rim to really account for it. So I guess just to be sure, we need to print this one. So we need to save this one and do all that. Okay, so to finish this off, we're going to talk about the final model. Stop right there. So I have discovered a kind of strange issue with my terminal design. I ran out of white PLA, so this is printed in black, but this is the same exact model as number 5 here. But yeah, I found something. So this is the battery we were using to test that we modeled our model off of. It's a GP, probably stands for like General Products or something, and this just came out of I think the Boss Distortion pedal that it came with. So yeah, this is what we modeled it off of, and it fits nicely. It's easy to put on, easy to take off, and it's still very firm. It's not super easy to bump, even when I'm sitting here doing major movements like that. I'm trying not to, I really don't want it to fling somewhere, especially because it's black. I'm never going to find it again. So then I had this Panasonic battery out while I was modeling, and I don't know why, but originally I thought it worked with this battery, but unfortunately it does not. It goes on, but I guess I never tested this. It falls right off. And I have discovered why, because I also have gotten more batteries. Well, I haven't gotten them. I found them around the house. So these are some rechargeable. This is a rechargeable brand, HW, that I use for demoing guitar pedals that have battery snaps, because then it gives it cleaner power than most DC connectors, because it gets noise from the wall and such. But anyway, I tried to put it on here, and it works. It doesn't fall off. It's snug on there, and it's great. So then I'm like, why? And then so to try and confirm this, I was looking around for more batteries, and unfortunately I could only find one more battery. I was hoping I was going to find my Dan Electro battery, but I think I might have thrown it away somehow. I thought I kept it, but I don't know. Anyway, then I have this Rayovac battery, another decently known brand. And then I had this issue where it didn't actually fit. And through sitting here fiddling with it, I discovered if you push down, kind of like straight on top, you can make it work. And it's obvious, since it wouldn't go on there normally with the slip over fit, it's definitely not coming off on its own, especially in like a small enclosure like a Boss pedal. So this one's definitely not getting knocked off in the enclosure if the pedal is getting thrown around. So it works for all 3 of these batteries. And so the question is why? Well, it's a fairly simple answer. Let's take our 2 classic examples. We have the General Power, or GP, battery, and we have the Panasonic battery. Panasonic had to go and be special and put this plastic ring around their terminal instead of making it the normal metal negative terminal. I believe that's the negative. Yes, it is the negative. So all of these ones work because they have the average metal terminal that's in like the hexagon shape. Panasonic had to go and ruin everything. However, I will note this, our open concept design works on I'm not going to say universally, but it works in most cases, including on the Panasonic battery. And it works on the rest of these batteries as well, I think. It is just a little looser. And if you really want to, you might be able to up and down scale it just like by a couple percents in the slicer, and you might be able to get tighter tolerances. But it also might throw off the whole thing, which is my probable guess. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that discovery, and I have done pretty much all that research tonight, and this was after editing almost the entire second video, because I almost went and started editing the model to try and fix it, but yeah, I didn't do that, because luckily I didn't mess with it, and I found that out first. I do believe that I might have made the circles in the original design of the open concept one. I believe I made them closer together, and that's why this one is unmarked, because I made them just a little bit closer together to give them a better fit than the original ones. Do I have an original one? I guess I just wasn't marking these, but yeah, I think I might have not even recorded this, and I just shrunk it down a little bit, just, side to side. So, hopefully I said everything I need to say, and let's get back to the other clip, because I think I said some important stuff back there. And, yeah. So, we finally, we had our models 1 and 2, which we made in Arachne. I don't remember where we left off before this last clip, so, yeah, we made these in Arachne, and they did fit, but they make these 2 lines. I don't know if that's going to be able to see it or not. There's 2 lines that happen on here that are normal. At least they have one of them, not to have 2 of them. That's a little strange, but just because it prints the outsides and then the insides and then outsides or something like that, because it prints like that, it just causes it to kind of have 2 Z seams because of how it stops. That's kind of why it's there, is because the Z seam comes from the start and the beginning of where your 3D printer starts to go around the print. And I wasn't very happy with that, and so I went to customer support about it, and they suggested me to do a few things, had a few difficulties, so it's been a while, and that's why I don't remember. So I printed this one, which is number 3, and this is the exact same size as, or at least it's supposed to be the exact same size as the Arachne ones, but it doesn't come out right. It comes out too small. And sometimes when I really push on the calipers, it will come out to the right size, but it always just seems a little bit small when you leave it, a normal tension, and you're just letting it slide the way it's supposed to. So then we have 4 and 5, which, as you can see, are winning models. 4 is the one that we had that already worked. It has the slight rounding at the top, but you can't tell because it really doesn't work on the 3D printer. And I made the positive terminal, which I can confirm is the positive terminal now. I made the positive terminal bigger. So then we have number 5, the one we just made, which has the flat on the top because it just makes more sense to have it flat and just not even complicate the model any more than it needs to be. So we finally have made like the optimal model for what we need. There might be ways to make it like the ultra optimal model if we take off like the backing and then just cover the top of the terminal, but then technically there could be some touching on the sides, but then it shouldn't be able to get across. Either way, this is a pretty good model, and so I'm gonna make this model available on Maker World, I think it is, whatever Bamboo Lab released, because I'm hoping to hopefully be able to get some of the gift cards to be able to keep stuff going, and maybe get more printers, get the AMS system, whatever, stuff that I not need, but, kinda need. Personally need, let's just say that. So, yeah. If you like the model, I don't think you even have to have a Bamboo Lab system to download the model, though you can, and I think I get more points if you have a Bamboo Lab thing and you use the model through it. I don't know exactly how it all works. You start racking up points through repetitive uses of like printer profiles and stuff, but yeah. So I hope I was able to make this video enjoyable. It probably is going to be kind of long, probably boring to most people, but I hope that it helped you kind of get a feel for design. It helped you in some way seeing my process, kind of how how I do it. I know I'm probably gonna be bored out of my mind trying to edit the video, because there's gonna be lots of pauses and time that I was not talking, I'd think. But anyway, this channel is normally a music channel. We normally do guitar and drum related content, but sometimes we do different things like this. And so if that all sounds good to you, please consider subscribing. And yeah, that's all I have to say for now. So I'm gonna say bye bye.